Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. This story is going to be a little sad. And I'm sorry that I keep bringing you sad stories, but these are things that need to be covered. This man that you see here in this picture is Houston Tipping, 5-year veteran of the LAPD, supposedly killed in a training accident. Mr. Tipping was doing a training session with some officers. He was uh, role playing as a uncooperative um, person dealing with a police officer. Um, Apparently, at some point, there was a scuffle. According to LAPD, this is how it goes down anyway. There's a scuffle. He hits his head on the ground, and he dies 3 days later of cardiac arrest, never regaining consciousness. That's the LAPD side of it. But there's some other moving pieces that you're not seeing here, right? You may have seen that headline back in June, I think it was, of LAPD officer tragically dies in training accident. You don't think much of that, right? You think, well, that's sad. I feel bad for his family, but accidents happen. But then you find out that Mr. Tipping was investigating one of the people that was in the training session, and according to some reports, was the one who took him to the floor. Mr. Tipping was investigating 4 police officers, including one that was in that session, for the rape of a woman who had given him this information that these men had raped her, giving her their names off their lapels that she saw, the names she saw. Now, the LAPD is not naming these officers, but they should. Because if they'll do what they did here, as I'll get to, the public needs to know who they are, and they need to be fired if they haven't already been. But let's get into it. Okay, so he was investigating these men, including one at the session, for rape. He had sent that information as an officer doing his job up the chain of command for him to be doing, for him to get that information up to other people so a full investigation could be forthcoming. LAPD has no recording whatsoever of what took place in that training session. Doesn't make sense to me that they would not have a video of training. Why wouldn't you at this day and age, right? Businesses even record training sessions with their normal workers that aren't police officers. I've heard that fire departments videotape and record some of their training things that they can record so they know how to do better improve. So why would that not be the case at the LAPD, one of the better funded police departments in the US? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? And then it gets even deeper than that. The medical examiner's report finds that the cause of death doesn't match the means of death given by the LAPD. Because in the report, there are lacerations on his face, apparently, like where he was beaten in the face. Because at first when I read this, I thought, well, maybe he fell there. But no, the ME says no, that these were not caused by just one fall. He had lacerations to his liver. There again, you wouldn't have a laceration to the liver if you just fell and hit your head. The attorney is alleging that the group of men in that room attacked this officer and killed him. And the LAPD is covering it up. Is this why good officers don't say anything? Are they scared for their lives? Are they scared these other officers are going to murder them for doing their job? That needs to stop. I'll tell you now, there's more good people out there in this world than there are bad people. And I know things like this can happen. And clearly they did happen. But please, if you're one of those good officers, please don't let things like this dissuade you from doing your job. And if enough of you stand up and enough of you say this is wrong and this shouldn't happen, and whatever investigation is going on, there should never be retaliation like that against your coworkers. So you should stand up and tell them they're wrong, and you should be protected from those people. The whole reason that we're even finding out about this isn't because the LAPD decided, oh, we're going to be honest. No, it was because Mr. Tipping's mother knew something was wrong and obtained an attorney to help find out what actually happened to her son. When the medical examiner says that the police report does not match the cause of death, then the cops are lying. The LAPD is covering up what actually happened to Mr. Tipping. Somebody knows something somewhere in that department. LAPD, like I said, says they don't have video of this training incident. But I guarantee you somebody does. I guarantee you somebody has video footage of exactly what happened. And I hope they find it. People talk about defund the police. Maybe we should start in LA. They have a history of beating people for no reason. They have a history of murdering homeless people for no reason. Not long ago, they shot a girl in a dressing room because they were too busy shooting it out with somebody else that didn't even have a gun. So maybe there's credence to that. And I don't believe every police department is corrupt. I don't believe every officer is bad. Because there are officers like this. There are officers who try to help, who try to make things better, who try to protect and serve their community, who actually take that badge as a sign of honor. You know, something they don't want to tarnish, they don't want to disrespect. But unfortunately, the good ones keep being retaliated against and get disappeared. So Mr. Tipping's family and friends don't get to have their friend around anymore, don't get to have their family member around. His mother doesn't get to have her son around anymore. Doesn't get to talk to him on the phone. Doesn't get to text him or any of that shit. Because somebody else decided they were above the law. And that they didn't like the fact that he was investigating something that they may or may not have done. Because he never came out and said, hey, they did this. He was just collecting evidence like an officer is supposed to do. So to Mr. Tipping's family, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, one, that you lost your loved one. Two, that you lost your loved one in this manner. And three, that his employer covered it up. Anyhow, I'll see you down the road. And keep this officer's family in your thoughts, because nobody should be murdered for doing their job. Anyways, I'll see you down the road.